Well, welcome Main Street Church. We just wanted to provide this opportunity for this video. This is kind of our way of reaching everybody because we know that not everyone can make our general meeting. And so we just wanted to give you guys an update of from last year to what the Lord's doing this year. So we were pretty excited and just kind of give us an overview of what kind of happened last year. If you guys do remember, we had made some quite a big changes. Actually, around this time last year, we decided to hire a children's director, Linda Gonzalez, and to God's faithfulness and your faithfulness of supporting the ministry, we've seen that area of our church grow tremendously. I can tell and just testify to COVID, preaching to empty rooms and seeing our children's building empty for months, and just praying and raising up the next generation. And we're seeing just the fruit of that this year. And so for those who have been coming to service, to just see all the little children pretty much filling up the whole stage and having that they know there's a part, that this church is a part for them too, that they can be a lasting part. And we just saw a wonderful baptism, a child baptism from our preschool that was interested in it. And she was like, I want to be baptized here at this church. And so that's really the testament to what the Lord's been doing. So that was one of our main things last year. And the other one was our name change. We are a Main Street Church, and it's one of those opportunities that now we can just share. Nothing from what we've changed biblically has happened. It's just the way that we can just invite the younger generation, and it's proving to be fruitful as you see a lot more young families attending with us, even reaching from our preschool and our ministry enrichment program that you're going to hear a little bit about, and just seeing what the Lord's doing through that. So those are our two kind of main areas that we've seen a significant change, and the Lord's been blessing that. And another aspect I would just also wanted to highlight for us is in just seeing what the Lord's doing currently. From a year later, we made those changes to now to we're seeing to where God has really taken hold of the youth in our church. They had a wonderful experience to winter camp, and for this church to support the youth going up there, they had multiple fundraisers. This church understood the value of reaching the next generation and supporting families that couldn't afford to send their kids. This church was more than generous to do that, to come alongside them and help them get to camp. And one of our policies is saying we don't leave a kid, we don't let finance be the reason why a kid can't go to camp. And you guys have absolutely backed that. The Lord provided for that. And it was their experience. I just want to highlight one particular one. So where during their camp experience, the youth group decided to actually just spend some time together in a circle and just leading worship together. Rather than going on zip lines and paintball, but they decided for a couple hours actually, not only just with themselves, but the worship band at camp to worship together. And it was an integral part of what the Lord's doing now for us as a church, because they came back excited to be involved in worship, and they provided an opportunity for us as a church to have our first worship night. That wasn't something that me and Pastor Mike and the pastoral staff put together. That was all student-led. And so we're actually excited to see how God is raising up the next generation, and to where we are fulfilling that great commission, making disciples that are making disciples of all nations. And so again, I'm excited to see what the Lord has for us upcoming, not only this coming up year, all throughout the summer, but I'm just seeing that the Lord's been blessing our church and blessing the generations and raising them up. We got excited for baptisms. We just performed a number of those baptisms, and we're looking forward to having another worship night and some more baptisms. And so I'm just trying my best to celebrate, just like those angels are talking about celebrating when one individual gives their life to the Lord. They are just having a party in heaven. So hopefully we get exhausted by celebrating in the next upcoming months. And so again, we're just excited to see the Lord continue to lead us. And we're going to be studying, continuing studying His Word. And the upcoming sermon series will be on Moses and how the Lord interacted with a leader, and just growing him as well as his people. And so again, we're just excited, and thank you for all your continued prayers for this church and your continued faithfulness.
Hi everyone, I'm Richard Gonzalez, and as the current chairperson of the Elder Board, I want to provide you an update on our activities and share thoughts on each elder. As a group, you have a very diverse set of individuals that have been called as church elders. Each member brings distinctive qualities, and together we have combined our efforts to support Pastor John and Pastor Mike. The elder group meets once a month, and during each meeting, we set aside prayer time for those church members who are ill, are facing a challenging situation, or seeking healing from the loss of a loved one. Beyond the monthly meetings, the elders give their time and participate in numerous church activities. I want to quickly acknowledge some personal thoughts regarding each elder. I'll start with the two most tenured elders, Butch Nichols and Ralph Gonzalez. Butch actively engages with countless church members and always makes himself available to others. For years, he has given his time and energy to numerous church activities. At our monthly meetings, Butch shares his informative and caring support of church members who are sick or have special needs. Ralph Gonzalez is also a tenured elder. For years, Ralph was the elder chair and led the elder board. During our meetings, he provides tremendous knowledge and insightful thoughts. Ralph presents a calm demeanor and highly compassionate outwardness that he uses while greeting people before church services. From the back of the church, he quietly monitors the Sunday services so attendees feel safe and welcome. Next, I want to acknowledge Art Johnson. I know some of you have seen and heard Art at Wednesday night Bible study. His biblical knowledge and perspective are simply amazing. He openly shares his thoughts in a manner that is comforting to others. In our elder meetings, he provides in-depth thoughts during our review of biblical passages. Because of Art's compassion and ability to share his biblical knowledge, Pastor John has asked Art to teach during Wednesday night Bible study and also on Sunday services. Another elder who actively devotes his time to others is Lynn Edmonds. Lynn has graciously led the Friday afternoon primetime group. During those meetings, he leads and teaches Bible passages. The attendees usually consist of 20 to 25 seniors that come together to enjoy lunch, socialize, and hear Lynn share his thoughts on the gospel. In addition to prime time, Lynn also teaches a Bible Bethel class before Sunday services. Our newest elder is Jeff Rivard. In the last 3 months, he has quickly attached himself to the group. Jeff's caring support of others and his compassionate demeanor is a blessing. He has donated countless hours to various church events and the Circle City Preschool. Jeff and Judy Rivard graciously handle the hospitality cart every Sunday so adults and kids can enjoy a treat during Sunday services. Recently, the elders have discussed 2 new programs. The first one is assessing how we can assist church members, especially those who are widows. We are currently developing ideas and finalizing those plans. The second program involves preparing others to become future church leaders. We know we have several talented men and women who can serve our church. Thank you.
Hi church, Linda here with an update on Main Street Kids and what's happening. Myself, as well as our leaders, Rachel Castillo, Aaron Long, and Georgina Forney, have been fortunate and blessed to see a lot of growth in the kids program over the last 8 months or so. And we have a lot of volunteers on Sunday mornings. A lot of youth come in, Samantha and Sophia Baca, Sebastian Forney, Josh Gonzalez, Bo Castillo, Judah Castillo, Bill Stutzman, Barbara Barrett, Bobby Nichols, Diana Stutzman, Sarah Stutzman, Melanie. I'm probably missing someone, but I just want to thank them first and foremost, because without them, we wouldn't be able to put what we need to into the children's program. So I'm so thankful that they're using their gifts to pour Jesus' love into these kids. We've seen such growth that we have been able to separate the kids into graded classrooms. So we have our Miracles, which is infant through 2 years old. And we have our Minis, which is ages 3 through 5. And we have our Mighties, which is 1st grade through 5th grade. And on average, if you've been here on Sunday mornings and you see the kids sitting on the stage, it's really exciting to see probably about 25 kids on average that we've been pretty consistent with. We do have a few kids that come over from the church that meets over in the library, Luke and Nina, and they don't have a children's program over there, so they came to us a while back and asked if their kids could join ours, and we said, yeah, absolutely. And so they come and they're enjoying being a part of the kids program too. We're seeing relationships grow, friendships grow. On Sunday mornings, we dive into the Bible. These kids are learning how to navigate through the Bible, how to find verses, and they get really excited about it. We have them memorizing verses, and along with the congregation, which is a lot of fun. We have our Wednesday nights as well, which, you know, for the whole congregation, it's a great time midweek to kind of check in and just it's like a great time to get together to fellowship after the busy weeks. Lots of activities going on in these kids' lives and these families' lives. So it's great to have our Wednesday nights where we can come together and do a Bible lesson, and the kids can just kind of take a breather and be with Jesus. And from the school side, I also teach 1st grade here at the school. Tremendous growth here as well. We are just starting registrations for next year, and we pray that we have enough room, enough space to accommodate all of the families that want to bring their kids here. Great growth. Lots of families from the school are also now attending the church, so there's been a strengthening of that relationship between the church and the school as well. We have some things coming up for the children's program as well. We are going to be repainting the cry room, the family room as we're going to start to call it, and do a little update there and make it look kind of modern so that the families that come in with their newborns feel comfortable. Sorry, back to the church or the school side now. On the school side, we just want to ask for prayer for the teachers as we kind of head into the end of the school year, and as we look toward next year in the fall. The teachers need prayers, the kids need prayers, all these families that are here. There's a lot going on in this world that these kids are getting bombarded with, and the families are in turn getting bombarded with. And we just want them to remember it's a safe space, and that their kids are coming to learn, but also learn about Jesus. And finally, we do have Summer Bible Club coming up. It's planned for a week in June, and there we have about 150 to 200 kids that are going to likely be on our campus, just as enjoying summer break and again learning about Jesus. So we ask for prayer as we head into that as well. We thank you, church, for your support, for the love that you show to these kids and these families, and we just pray that God continues to move as He has been with everything that's happening. Thank you.
Doreen, tell us about your favorite part about the worship ministry.
I think my favorite part about the worship ministry is raising up the youth to grow spiritually and to grow in their talents.
What was the one thing that stood out on winter camp this past year?
The one thing that stood out was how I feel specifically the girls opened up in our cabin, and how a lot of the youth stood up when it was time, when they were asked to stand up if they wanted to accept God.
Mm-hmm. How about the worship night? What inspired you to kind of orchestrate that?
I felt like a lot of the kids loved the worship there at camp, and I wanted to bring it back to church where they would feel it in their home church and not just at camp.
So what'd you do to make that happen?
I had asked the band if they would like to play over here at the church, and they were more than willing because they felt inspired by our youth to come.
And what stood out about that night?
That how much the worship team was engaged with the congregation, and not only that, a lot of the older congregants were engaged as well.
And just tell us what you're looking forward to God doing in the future.
I'm looking forward to a lot of the youth becoming not only just like backup players or singers, but also worship leaders as well.
Hey, Main Street Church. I have the blessing of being the tech director here, and in the last year and a half that I've been on staff, we've been able to strategically plan and move in a forward progress way when it comes to our technology, when it comes to raising up a volunteer base to help with the tech team. It's been incredible to see how our youth have stepped up and wanted to be a part of the tech team and learning things that they didn't know they were going to enjoy as much as they do now, to even to the point where they're teaching people that want to learn our tech systems. And so it is just developing the discipleship kind of method of bringing volunteers into the tech team. We've made some pretty big changes, and we're going to be making some more changes moving forward thanks to your faithfulness in giving in the church, God's provision. We're going to be updating and continuing to upgrade some of our technologies so that we can make sure that whether you're watching at home online or whether you're here in person, you have an experience that brings you straight to the throne of God so that you can worship Him, you can learn from His Word, and you can grow in your walk with Him. So we've made some changes. Like I said, we're going to continue making some changes. So the table that's up in the front here, that's going to be going away soon, and we're going to make some other updates and modifications here in the worship center that I think are only going to continue enhancing what we do to bring all of us to the throne of God so that we can have a worship experience that doesn't just happen on Sunday, but lasts for the rest of the week. We have the pleasure of being sort of the behind the scenes group here. Yes, the table in front, but we get to be the behind the scenes crew, and we enjoy that. It takes a special kind of person to work tech at a church, because some people would say you're missing out on worship. You're too focused on the slides. You're too focused on the camera, on this, on that. But what many people don't fully understand and realize is that that is how we get to serve God, and we still worship God through all of that. Whether it's through rehearsals and singing the songs or doing the slides or going through all of that, that is one of the ways that we worship God, is being able to serve Him and bring others closer to Him at the same time. So moving forward, you're going to see some new changes coming with the tech that we're using here in the worship center, with some updates that we're doing, some technologies, some equipment, and we're headed in a positive direction so that we can be in a place that really sets us up well to feed the needs of the church as it exists now, but also feed the needs of the future church that will be coming soon. So hope you enjoy what we're doing here and the tech and everything that's going on, but we're just along for the ride to see what God has for us.
Hello, Main Street Church. My name is Edward Florian. I'm the youth director here. I've been on staff for the last 6 months, and it has blown me away of the tremendous growth I have seen from the number of students to even their spiritual walk with the Lord. Recently, we have come back from a winter camp where I have personally seen these students fully devoted to God, fully surrendered and in love with their Lord Jesus Christ. And in the future, what we see happening is more worship, a fully surrendered heart to the Lord. And that is one thing that I am seeing the trend going on, and God has been moving. God has been showing his hand and pouring his spirit upon this next generation. The goal for our youth group here is to be positive world changers and to be able to shine that light to the world around them. And I just thank you for entrusting me in this position and allowing the Lord to use me to reach your students.
Hi everyone, I'm Owen. I do a couple things here at the church. I'm one of the worship leaders here. I'm the junior high youth leader, and I also work at the school here. So I'm with ages kindergarten all the way up to middle school. But one of the things, I guess I'll start with the school. One of the things at the school that I realized they're doing, I didn't realize they did at first, is they really do pour a lot into Jesus with all the kids on Wednesday. And I've been having the privilege to, during chapel, play guitar for them. And as over the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing kids get more and more into worship during their school time. And just being able to sing on the top of their lungs, and just being able to, just what the school is doing is just planting their seeds to all these kids from all the way to kinder to 8th grade. I've had the privilege to work with a youth group here at Main Street Church. I was placed into this job just to almost get more experience, but what I realized is that it's not only giving me the experience, but it's also just being able to witness what's going on with these junior hires. It started at winter camp, necessarily when all these kids started off, they're goofing around, they're here for the games and stuff, and they're here for all just the fun stuff winter camp has in store. And by the end of the day, by the last day, how it really took an effect on them, really changed them, to where when I asked them, what's your favorite part about winter camp? What's your favorite part about this whole trip we've had? And them saying, I loved worshiping. I loved hearing the message. And I was surprised, I asked them, all the games, out of all the stuff you guys did, that was the answer. And that's what everyone's answer from junior high all the way up to high school. They all said worship was an amazing thing. And that led to the worship night here on Sunday night. And that just growing into our church, and it started off slow, but we can really now actually see the changes from what started as little things over the last couple of months. And that's the other one thing I'll tie into, is that being part of worship here has been amazing, and slowly not being able to do certain things here, not being able to have the volume too loud, and now actually being able to, that's not what matters now. What matters is now that we are worshiping Jesus, and it doesn't matter whether you're in the youth, whether you're older. All that matters is that our congregation is coming together, and they're all putting their hands up and they're serving the one and true God. But the biggest thing I've taken away, and it's been the biggest difference this last year at the church, is definitely just the youth. How much this church cares about the youth, how much they see how close and how strong our youth is in Jesus, and that's the biggest thing they care about, is that even if there isn't necessarily fun games going on, or we don't have, or just like the food or whatever on Wednesday nights, the thing they care about most is that they get to read, they get to worship, and they get to serve God every week on a weekly basis. And our church sees that, and it's been the biggest thing past COVID to now, is how close our youth group is growing together. And it's thanks to you guys that we've had the money, we've had the resources, and then we've had the opportunity to keep on growing, because it's just a start here at what Main Street has in store.
Well, as you've all been hearing, and I know you guys can feel the same way I'm feeling, we have a lot going on at Main Street Church. In fact, it has been a year right now since we became Main Street Church, and God has blessed us. There's so many changes going on. In each of the ministries you've listened to, you've been able to hear a piece of how God's been working through not just the people we have on staff, but the volunteers and every one of the members that we have as part of the church. A couple things that I want you to be aware of that go to an overarching understanding of how God's working is when we went through COVID, one of the things that we were able to do is keep all of the school staff as well as all the church staff employed, and your faithfulness in giving allowed us to maintain all those payrolls during that time. We have found out and been advised that because we kept everybody employed, we're able to apply for and get a reimbursement, and it's a special act that Congress has done. It's pulling from the same money that was there originally, but we just were not allowed to have it then. We now qualify, and we have filed the applications to receive some of that money back. Now, what that's going to allow us to do is some of the things that, even though God has blessed through all of this, some of the things that we've been putting off and not been able to do financially, we now will be able to do. And I'm not going to go through a list of what those are because we don't even know exactly how God's going to bless us or how much He's going to bless us with. But I want you to know that we're faithfully on your behalf taking every opportunity that we can to stretch the money that you're giving and even faithfully be rewarded by the government of all places for being able to keep everybody employed. The other thing I want you to be aware of is we are going to be in a couple weeks launching an app. Now, for some of you who are not techno savvy, that's going to be a scary thing, but I want you to understand we're going to make it very easy. Right now, if you want to, you can go to the App Store on Apple or you can go to Google Play on your Android and you can download Main Street Church of Corona app. And when you download that, it's going to ask you to log in. You're going to be receiving in the next couple weeks a login password, a username and password, and you'll be allowed to change your password. On there, just so you understand what it's going to look like, you can instantly see all of the messages that have been preached each week by Pastor John or myself, and you can also see the calendar and events. You also can get an online directory of all those people who are part of our body here. So if you want to get a hold of somebody and you don't have their number, it'll allow you to do that. And it'll be members being able to see other members. And that app is going to be launched. It's part of what we call Simple Church, which is the new software we've been employing to be able to track offering and all the other stuff that's going on. So that's another new step we're moving into, and you're going to find out more information about that. Overall, financially, God has blessed. You've been faithful. God has been faithful. He's always faithful. And He has been able to help us get through not just what's gone on with COVID, but this year where we're seeing incredible growth. Baptisms are happening, as you've heard about. We're having worship nights, which you've heard about. And most of all, we're seeing people come to a deeper relationship with Christ. That's because of you and because of the power of the Holy Spirit. So thank you for allowing me to serve you here, and thank you for your participation in helping us grow. So praise God for what He's doing. Thank you for letting us bring this to you on a video. God bless your day.